Okay, good morning everyone. I am Miss Mary Anfonte, your teacher for today. So we are now in lesson 4, practice occupational health and safety. Okay, so last meeting, we learned about the ratios and proportion and the standard unit of time and the ROPR, calculation of the room occupancy percentage. So let's check if you still remember our past lesson. So I have here two problems. The question here is how many hours are there in a year? So how will we get the answer? Okay, so we all know that in 1 year we have 365 days, and in 1 day we have 24 hours, and in 1 year, so meaning to say, we have to multiply 365 days times 24 hours. So the answer is 8,760 hours. So meaning to say, in 1 year, we have 8,760 hours. Okay, another one. Rhoda Beach Resort and Hotel has a total of 20 rooms. As of March 31, 10 of their rooms are already been sold or occupied. Mr. Reyes, a front desk officer of Rhoda Beach Resort and Hotel, would like to know if how many rooms are occupied. So what formula are we going to use in getting the room occupancy percentage? So the formula is rooms occupied divided by rooms sold available times 100. So the rooms sold here in the problem is 10. So 10 rooms sold divided by the total rooms available, which is 20. So 10 rooms sold divided by 20 rooms available times 100. So 10 divided by 20 is equal to 0.50 times 100. So 0.50 times 100 is equal to 50%. So meaning to say 50% of rooms are occupied of Roda Beach Resort and Hotel. Words to study. So let us ponder some words which we are going to encounter as we go along with our lesson. So I have here a jumbled letters. So what you're going to do is you have to arrange this to form a new word. So what do you think is this? Anyone? Okay, so hazard. So when we say hazard, what is it? So hazard is a source of danger. Yes. Okay, another jumbled letters we have is, so what do you think is this? Okay, very good. Safety. When we say safety, it is the condition of being protected from or unlikely to cause danger, risk, or injury. And then the last one is we have, what do you think is this? Okay, very good. Health. So when you say health, it is a person's mental or physical condition. Okay, what can you say about the picture? So ano yung napapansin nyo dyan sa picture na nakikita nyo dyan sa screen? Okay, so may makikita nyo kayo dyan na merong mga nadapa, merong mga nadulas, merong nahulog, at merong, ano yan? Okay, so dito naman sa office na ito, nakikita nyo dyan na hindi organized ang kanilang mga gamit. Diba? Yung iba, nasasaktan na yan. Nasasaktan na sila dyan dahil merong mga nakakalat. Hindi naka-organize ang kanilang mga gamit. Yes. Okay, so based on that picture, what do you think will be our topic this morning? Okay, very good. It's all about hazard and risk. Okay, so guide questions. So these are the guide questions for today's lesson. First, what are the types of hazard in front office services? Second, how are those hazards in the workplace can be controlled? And the last one, why is it important to know hazard and risk in front office services? Okay, let's move on. what is practice occupational health and safety? Do you have any idea if what is practice occupational health and safety? So it says here that occupational safety and standard, or OHS, refers to the health and safety of the workers in the workplace. It also includes the laws, standards, and programs that focuses on making the workplace better for the workplace, clients, and other stakeholders. Okay, hazard and risk identification and control. Safety of individuals is a concern of everybody in business, of course. The building establishment, the workers, and all the clients should be safe at all times. Maintenance of cleanliness and orderliness with the provision of standard procedures should be practiced and monitored regularly. Hazards and risks should be identified as early as possible. Okay, so what is the difference between a hazard and risk? So is there any difference between the two? Hazard. Okay, so let us first define what is hazard. So when we say hazard, it is a source it is a source of potential danger, damage, harm, or threat to life, health, property, or environment. So how about the risk? So what is a risk? So it says here that risk is the possibility that somebody could be harmed by this and other hazards, and the indication of how serious the harm can be. So meron ako ditong picture. So ano yung mapapansin niyo dyan sa picture na yan? Ano nangyari dun sa tao na yun? Okay, yes. Na ano siya? Na paano? Okay, nadulas. Bakit sa palagay niyo bakit kaya siya nadulas? Ano ang dahilan bakit siya nadulas? Yes, yung wet floor. So, ibig sabihin, saan dyan yung hazard? Saan dyan yung hazard natin? Okay, yes, yung wet floor. So, yung wet floor, yung hazard ang sinasabi dyan. So, yan yung dahilan bakit siya nadulas. So, ibig sabihin, ang hazard na yun, yun yung dahilan kung bakit siya na-aksidente or na-disgrasya. Okay, so yung risk naman, saan naman doon yung risk? So, yung risk, dahil alam niya naman or na-expose siya doon sa wet floor, so dumaan siya doon sa wet floor, anong nangyari sa kanya? Nadulas. So, ibig sabihin, yun yung risk, nadulas siya. Kasi nga, dumaan siya, alam niya naman na meron doong basa yung sahig. So, yun yung risk. Hazard and risk. So, yung hazard, yun yung dahilan kung bakit siya nadulas. So, once na siya ay na-expose doon sa wet floor, doon sa hazard na yun, yun yung magiging mangyayari sa kanya. Yung nadulas nga. So, yun yung risk. The cause and effect. Ang dahilan at ang epekto. Cause and effect. Okay, so there are types of hazard. So the first hazard is, okay, electrical hazard. When we say electrical hazard, what is it? Electrical hazard is an electrical hazard can be defined as a dangerous condition where a worker could make electrical contact with energized equipment or a conductor, and from which the person may sustain an injury from shock, and there is a potential for the worker to receive an arc, flash burn, thermal burn, or blast injury. Sabi natin electrical class na electrical hazard. So, kagaya po sa ating mga front office services or any business establishment, kahit din po sa ating bahay, di ba? Maraming mga naka-installed na electrical wiring na kailangan na magbibigay sa kanila ng they can provide quality service to its daily guests or customers. So, kasi syempre, marami silang mga electrical tools and equipments, kagaya po ng mga computer set, telephone, fax machine for the office, and refrigerator, and others. So, the hotel staff should be careful using this equipment to avoid the danger of electrocution. atmosphere and caution at all times should be recommended. So, talagang kailangan talaga natin mag-ingat dahil kahit saan ay merong mga wiring or mga electrical hazard. An electrical hazard includes A. Defective tools and equipment. All tools, equipment, and appliances used in the workstations should pass in quality control and with good standard. Electrical hazard also includes faulty electrical wiring. Improper electrical wiring is one of the common risks in any establishment. Provision of wiring safety regulations has been administered by the local government to reduce this type of hazard. So regular check-up and monitoring of electrical wiring and all its equipment and appliances should be a habit. Okay, we also have the overload circuit. It happens when circuit current than what is expected, which may cause electrocution or fire. And then worn out wire happens when the cord of any electrical wears out and then covers the electrical cables inside due to damage caused by pets. Okay, the second type of hazard in front office services is we have the chemical hazard. So when we say chemical hazard, so these are the chemicals that are used in company that if not taken care of could bring health problems to workers. So these are some common materials such as cleaning products, paints, fuels, and other inflammables contain hazardous chemicals. And if we are exposed to those chemical hazards, it can lead to skin and respiratory disorders, poisoning, or even death when inhaled or digested. Okay, so the next one is we have the physical hazard. So physical hazard is a naturally occurring process that has the potential to create loss or damage. So these include unsafe conditions that can cause injury, illness, or even death. It is considered as the most common and present type of hazard in most workplaces. Spills on the floor and tripping hazards such as block aisles or cords running across the floor is one example that usually happen in the workstations, which in turn result to this type of hazard. Okay, so another type of hazard in front office services is we have the ergonomic hazard. So when we say ergonomic hazard, it is occur when the type of work, body positioning, and working condition put strain on your body. It can be a short or long-term exposure, which may result in moderate or serious injuries. It includes poor lighting, frequent lifting, poor posture, repeated movements, and long exposure with the use of computer. So, kagaya po ng ating, sino nga yan po, yung mga nagdadala o yung nagbubuhat ng mga gamit ng ating mga customers sa isang hotels or front office services. So, yun yung bellboy, diba? So, bellboy is the one who carry the bags of our customers and or guests. So, kung palagi po sila nagbubuhat ng kanila po mga dala-dala, ng ating mga customers. So, syempre, minsan, sasakit din po ang kanilang mga katawan, diba? So, kagaya din po ng ating mga front officers. Sila po ay maghapon sa ating nakaharap sa computer screen, diba? Nakaupo din sila maghapon. So, kung mali po yung kanilang position sa pag-upo ay ay sasakit po ang kanilang mga likod. So, those are some example of economic hazards. So, kagaya din sa inyo ng mga estudyante. So, kayo po ay lagi po naka-expose kayo sa harapan ng ating mga gadgets, 'di ba? Sa ating mga computer. And other gadgets, sa ating mga cellphone, 'di ba? Siguro 24 hours kayo nakatutok sa inyong mga cellphone, 'di ba? Akala ng mga magulang niyo nag-aaral kayo, pero yun pala, busy-busy kayo sa inyong sa TikTok at kung ano-ano pa mga ginagawa niyo na hindi naman para sa ikabubuti ng inyong buhay, 'di ba? So, kailangan na pangalagaan din po natin ang ating mga sarili. Huwag po tayong mag-expose ng matagal sa paggamit ng ating mga gadgets. So, ano po ang mangyayari sa inyo kung kayo po ay laging nakatutok sa inyong cellphone? Okay, so syempre lalabo yung inyong mga mata, sasakit ang inyong mga mata. So, hindi po natin ito agad-agad mararamdaman. So, siguro after a month, after a year, so doon natin mapapansin na lumalabo na po pala ang ating mga mata. So, kaya habang bata po tayo, alagaan po natin ang ating mga sarili. And then we also have the biological hazard. So bio means life. So meaning to say this kind of hazard threatens our life. So it says here that biological hazard, also known as biohazard. It refers to biological substances that pose a threat to the health of living organisms, primarily that of humans such as viruses, fungi, and parasites. In hotel industries, specifically in kitchen and dining area, the food that they serve are easily affected by hazard if not properly handled during preparation time. It will be contaminated, which can cause foodborne illness, or worse will be food poisoning. So, kagaya po ng atin pong nararanasan ngayon, meron po tayong tinatawag na coronavirus. So, that is also an example of biological hazard na kung saan talagang napakabilis kumalat, diba? Kaya hindi po tayo maging malinis sa ating mga sarili, hindi po tayo marunong maghugas ng kamay kung tayo po ay lumalabas. Kailangan po natin na pagdating sa ating bahay, tayo po ay mag-disinfect. Maghugas po tayo ng ating mga kamay at panatilihin po natin na magsuot ng face mask para hindi hindi tayo mahawa, hindi tayo din makahawa kung meron man tayo. So, kagaya din, ipanatilihin po natin, i-practice din po natin ang tinatawag natin na social distancing to prevent coronavirus. Okay, so the question is, can we control hazard? Yes or no? Okay, so the answer is yes, of course. So here are some ways to control hazard. So the first one is by using personal protective equipment or the PPE. So syempre sa pamamagitan ng personal protective equipment, atin po makokontrol ang mga hazards. So can you give me an example of protective equipment? Okay, so we have the face mask para hindi po tayo mahaway ng coronavirus. Kailangan po tayo na magsuot, di ba? Halos lahat tayo po ay gumagamit na ng face mask para maingatan at hindi po tayo madapuan ng virus. And then, shield, okay, pang-protect na din po sa atin ito. And then the gloves, safety shoes, and others. So, marami pa pong iba na personal protective equipment para hindi po tayo or para makontrol po natin ang sinasawag natin ng mga hazard. Yung biological hazard, physical hazard, and etc. Another ways to control hazard is by implementation of engineering controls and implementing administrative controls which involve work schedules, policies, and practices, including education and training, good housekeeping, and emergency preparedness. And then the last one by means of elimination or removal of hazard from the workplace. Okay, so let us proceed to the organizational safety and health protocol, contingency measures and procedures. A contingency plan, or otherwise known as worst scenario or backup plan on a disaster recovery plan, is simply a secondary alternative course or action that can be implemented in the event that the primary approach so as to function as it should. as it should. It indicates a written emergency plan of procedures that merely prescribes course of action that must be taken effectively to reduce and minimize the cause of hazards from any kind of risk. It will be a systematic and procedural approach that will effectively identify what goes wrong in a situation. Okay, so these are the factors that we should be considered in developing a contingency plan. First, events that may occur that require response. Second, disasters that may happen during the implementation of the plan. Third, possible scenario for the situation. Fourth, the worst case scenario. Fifth, possible scenario it cost of the plan or excessive or if there are delays. Sixth, events that may cause mass disruption of current activities and plans. Number 7, possible scenario if key people leave the organization. Number 8, expected moves of opponent and competitor. Number 9, possible hindrances in the implementation of the plan. And of course, a contingency plan should include first, an updated and correct list of names, addresses, and phone numbers of all persons who are expert and qualified to help in case of an emergency. Number 2, an updated list of emergency equipment and facilities that can be used in emergency. Third, a list of proper procedures to be followed by personnel in an urgent situation in response to hazard and risk that might be encountered. Number 4, a detailed agreement of qualified personnel such as firefighters, police officers, nurses, contractors, and all other response teams. Number 5, a ready plan for evacuation, isolation, or decontamination to save people and property for further damage. Okay, let's proceed to safety and health consciousness. Fires, earthquake, and other disasters are reality. It can happen anywhere or anytime, so they are not predictable. That's why everyone should have an accurate knowledge on how to respond, whether at home, at workplace, or while on the road. Emergency preparedness is one of the good answers in these natural and man-made problems. It must become a way of life. Being ready at all times is a topmost priority. Remember that quality of life depends on how ready and prepared we are. Okay, so here are some of the natural and man-made problems. The first one is the fire. So naranasan niyo na po ba na kayo po ay masunugan? So praise God, sana naman po hindi pa po tayo nakaranas ng ganitong man-made problems. So this fire is one of the major hazards that might happen to all hotel establishment. If safety and security is being ignored, many hotels shared that human error has been the major reason of this kind of accident. Delayed action of the fire department, hotel, guest, and even uncorrected habits in electrical, cigarette and motors, and the like greatly contribute to this dilemma. So fire safety intervention is the answer to make employees, especially the hotel guests, safe and secured on the entire date of their stay in the hotel. It includes a fire response, such as putting up a fire emergency plan and giving a proper orientation for the hotel facilities, fire and life safety systems. Okay, so how can we prevent fire? So here's the fire prevention tips. So during a fire, what are we going to do? First, pull the nearest alarm or call an emergency number for help. 2. Stay calm, do not panic. Number 3, evacuate. After fire, Stay out. Do not go back inside the area of incident for any reasons. 2. Talk to the department if there is anyone who will still trap in the place. And number 3, go back to the place if it is safe to do so as advised by the fire officials. Okay, so the following are some of the actions that a first aider must do in case of emergency. First, provide an immediate action carefully. First aider should possess a desirable quality for effective assistance. Second, position the victim in correct posture to provide proper aid and assistance. Number 3, assess and evaluate the incidents. Examine if the victims have injuries. Number 4, plan a good action and careful action to be done. Number 5, seek for an expert after giving immediate medical assistance to the victim. Next is the natural problem, the earthquake. So earthquake is the sudden or violent shaking and vibration of the surface of the earth resulting from underground movement along fault plane from volcanic eruptions. So here are the safety tips during earthquake. So indoors. So first, stay inside the building. 2. Identify the safe area in its room such as tables, desks, or against inside the walls. Number 3. Avoid the danger spots such as windows, mirrors, hanging objects, and all furniture. Outdoors. So the first one is we have to stay within a clear area, far from trees, high-rise building, poles, and electrical wires. Second, stay away from display shelves with objects that could fall. Number 3, secure yourself from glass, falling objects, and other debris. Okay, so after earthquake, what are we going to do? First, check personal safety and security. Second, seek first aid if needed. Be calm. Third, stay out of the damaged buildings. So those are the tips on how to prevent those natural and man-made problems. Okay, so first aid. When we say first aid, what is it? So when we say first aid is an assistance, help, and care given to a sick or injured person before a full medical treatment is given by a professional. It is usually performed by the first aider who is usually not expert but knowledgeable in doing so. Okay, so let us remember that accidents are caused. They do not just happen. They are the result of not knowing the proper way to do a task, carelessly performing an operation or job, or by not being consciously aware during the performance of a task. It is wise to remember that careless workers not only threaten their own health and well-being, but also threaten those around them. Remember this, disregarding safety means we are putting our lives and safety to danger. Okay, so class, for your activity, please watch this video. I have prepared 4 questions for you to answer.
Ganun na lang kung makapagdasal ang batang nag-viral. Yun pala kasi, meron siyang mabigat na pinagdaraanan. Ngayong pare-pareho tayong dumadaan sa krisis. Ano ang iyong ipinapanalangin?
Naway iadya mo kami sa kapahamakan at iligtas mo ang aming mga pamilya.
Sana gumaling na ang lahat ng may sakit.
Sa milyon-milyong nagdarasal ngayon sa buong mundo, may isang munting tinig. Umaasang diringgin siya ng langit. Siya ang 9 gulang na si Gabriel. Hindi niya tunay na pangalan. Ang bata, COVID-19 positive.
Siya lang ang bata na walang tatay at nandito. Marami kaming umiiyak, sir. Nakatingin sa kanya. Naaawa. Umiiyak siya. Kaya ibidyohan para makarating sa kanyang mga magulang na ito ang anak nyo. Umiiyak kasi namimiss niya kayo.
Mahigit 1 linggo nang nananalagi sa isolation center na ito sa Cebu, si Gabriel. Kasama ang mahigit 100 mga pasyente na katulad rin niya, positibo sa COVID-19. Dahil nahawa sa sakit,
Okay, so in your notebook, answer the following question. First, what do you feel after watching the video? Second, what type of hazard does the video shows? Number 3, what are you going to do to prevent the spreading of the virus? Number 4, what advice can you give to those people who are experiencing or suffering due to coronavirus? You can write your answer in your notebook. Okay, so class, is it important to know hazard and risk? Yes, of course. So, I have here fill in the blank. So, pili kayo dito sa tatlo kung ano ba yung tama dito sa mga blanco. So, knowing hazard and blank is important in order for us to know how to blank ourselves in daily situations. So, what is your answer? Okay, so knowing hazard and risk is important in order for us to know how to protect ourselves in daily situations. Okay, so have you learned something for today's lesson, class? Okay, so is there any questions? Any clarifications? Okay, so if none, get your notebook and answer the following questions. I have 5 questions here. Please write your answer in your notebook. Okay, so let's check your answer first. Source of potential danger that can cause harm or damage to humans, property, and environment. Is it a hazard, accident, jeopardies? So the answer here is hazard. Number 2, stumble, tripped, slipped, excessive heat, vibration, noise is some of the example of this hazard. A, chemical hazard. B, biological hazard. C, physical hazard. Okay, so what is your answer? Letter C, physical hazard. Number 3, a combustion or burning in which oxygen from the air and typically give out bright light, heat, and smoke. A, fire. B, tsunami. C, typhoon. So the correct answer here in number 3 is letter A. Number 4, according to World Health Organization, during this pandemic period, we must limit our social exposure and stay indoors. Avoid social gathering and observe blank. A, social distancing. B, social group. C, socialization. Okay, so the correct in number 4 is letter A, social distancing. Number 5, wearing a blank may prevent people who have COVID-19 from spreading the virus. A, PPE. Letter B, jacket. Letter C, face mask. So what is your answer? Okay, so the answer here is letter A, PPE. Okay, so for your assignment, class, please visit our Google Classroom. I have already posted all the activities for this week. Okay, so class, before I end my presentation this afternoon, I would like to share it with you. Safety is the key to accident-free. That's all for today. Thank you. Stay safe and God bless everyone.